Before we get started, um, I chose not to come out and talk to the media after our games because I felt it was best that my time was spent in the locker room with the team, going over what we did wrong, say what we did wrong, not what we did right and wrong, because straight to end the season, we didn't do anything right. So we can use this time to sit here and rehash why I didn't talk to you guys after those games, or we can all related questions you guys have. So I'll leave it up to you. Let's get started.
Did ownership threaten you with your job if you didn't come out here today?
No, they didn't threaten me with my job. I have large ownership stake in the team, as I'm sure you know. So I have any say in coaching decisions and who coaches this team. Um, it was a organizational decision to not speak to the media as the losses continue to mount up. What was there to say? So and so didn't do a good job. This guy's a bum. We can't wait for the offseason to change over the entire roster. Yada yada yada. You guys said all the same things we were going to say. So yeah, you covered it for us. Let's move on to some actual questions.
It was pretty clear with the preseason trades this organization was tanking. But did the team have to commit to it so thoroughly?
It may not have looked like it at times out there, but we didn't actually tank the season. We did our best chance to win, as you know. The Sammy Watkins and Darby trades were made before I got here. Dealt with the cards we were dealt, or we played the cards we were dealt. I didn't like the trades. Our hand on what we did with the season. If you want to call it tanking, you can call it tanking. Did we commit to it from the top to the bottom? No, we committed to going out there playing football, doing the best we could with the talent that was I got here. Judge us by what happens from this season, this off season forward. That wasn't my season. Those weren't my guys.
You showed a league record for interceptions with 81 and turnovers in a season at 92. So you had in mind when you came to Buffalo.
It's better than a legacy of a sports reporter that won't put the sub down before he asks questions, so he's not asking me with his mouth full. But who I get to work with anymore, and you choose who you get to interview, right? Yeah, we set a record for turnovers, interceptions this season. To go out there and just sling it. They clearly didn't have the talent to play at this level anyway. So have fun. Help us coaching staff get an idea for what's open, what's not open in this league. Use that going forward. But there was no amount of coaching that was going to change these bums. They are what they are. Tyrod Taylor, know where he stands at this point. Jesus certainly wasn't on Peterman's side. Um, so we don't have a quarterback on this team right now. That's what we found out with 82 interceptions.
Now that you realize this team has no quarterback, what's the first thing on the agenda this offseason?
Well, we're evaluating the quarterbacks coming out this year. It's a very deep crop of first round talent on the quarterback grades, but it's only one with any height to them. So we're gonna have to decide. We've gone through the short quarterbacks here in Buffalo before. Tyrod still gets a lot of his passes batted down. I don't know if I'm 100% convinced there's a quarterback out there that fits Buffalo. Besides that, the next position is got to be wide receiver. We had no professional passing game to speak of this season. When you got receivers that can't get open and really should be at the bottom of a roster, if not on P squads, and a quarterback that himself should be a practice squad guy or a clipboard holder. You put them all out there on the field at the same time, and you're going to get 81 interceptions, and that was top 10 in the league, yet gave up over 600 points. That's how you end up 3 and 13.
This quarterback is the obvious choice in the draft. Have any of the top prospects stood out to your staff?
Uh, as I just mentioned, there's a couple guys we like. We're not in love with anybody at this point. Depends on the value we can get for them. If we can maybe trade down a little bit and pick up the same guy we would otherwise get drafted and reached on, makes a little more sense for us. We're going to see what happens. We've got the 4th pick and the 23rd pick, so we may move down and up. We don't know.
How many players on the current roster will be here for opening day next season?
The honest answer, well, probably 15 to 20, simply because of contractual obligations and how difficult it would be to move them or cut them. Truth be told, 10 of those 15, 20 are dead men walking as well as soon as we can get rid of them. I can't turn this roster over fast enough, bring in our guys there. Defense did some things, but most of the guys that did some things on defense, their contracts are either expiring, they're well in their 30s, and they're just not going to be around long enough to do anything when it matters for this team. Roster's got to go. How fast that happens, we'll see.
Will LeSean McCoy be one of the players that are still here next season?
Shady. We can't get rid of Shady fast enough. The phones are always open for calls on Shady. So far is a 2024 7th round pick offered from the Jets. And as much as we'd like to play against Shady each season, just we'd like to get something more than Swift kick in the nuts 4 years from now for Shady. So if you're looking for a feisty little running back that's still got some miles left on him, get through a full game without getting nicked up on some injuries, each week, give us a call. Shady's looking for a new home. He wants to play for a contender.
What about Tyrod Taylor?
Is the cancer that keeps growing on this roster. We can't cut it out fast enough. He's been divisive in the locker room. He started a quarterback controversy on his own. Who they wanted to play for, him or Peterman. He didn't win that argument. And his mom was actually in the locker room when he decided to bring that up and stood with them. Pretty much really just the ball boys who I'm starting to think he's got his own little arrangement going with. The ball boys, a couple parking lot attendants, and concessions, the beer concessions, they all really stood behind Tyrod. Don't know what their personal motivations were, but anyone out there in the trenches fighting for those inches. And Peterman for a couple weeks, and then they were all standing in the middle of the room not to go out there with a quarterback.
Even with all the high picks this team has, there's a lot more help needed than one draft class can possibly bring in.
Well, as far as I've been here, playoff drought's at 1. I can't speak for what happened in the years previously. I missed the playoffs 1 year, guys. Will we probably miss the playoffs another year or two? It's possible. I'd like to think we're going to make a strong run at it this season once we have on board. We're also going to need to do some upgrades on the stadium maintenance. It's probably time for a new stadium. These bugs and from open doors that don't close all the way anymore and leaky basements. It's the stadium's crumbling. We're going to need something new, and the sooner the better.
Your tackles, Cordy Glenn and Deion Dawkins, struggled mightily down the stretch towards the end of the season. Back to a new season with these guys as your tackles and expect to have an improved passing game from what we saw this year, regardless of who the quarterback is?
We're going to put in a league request to change their names. We don't know that they're the same guys, and so the defense coordinators that we play because right now they got big old bullseyes on their chests. I think every defensive end in the league's licking their chops to get at our ends to play end against our tackles. But a lot of that had to do with quarterback play too. In the last Dolphins game, Tyrod rolled to the left on undesigned rollouts and left Cordy Glenn in awkward positions. And on the stat sheet, Cordy Glenn gave up 5.5 sacks. Sure, that doesn't look good, but it doesn't say his idiot quarterback rolled into his block.
Can we expect any changes in your coaching staff?
There's some guys I'd like to get rid of. I'd like to change our offensive coordinator for sure. One of the problems in the reality of my existence is my coaching staff is 100% connected to me permanently. So where I go, they go. It's unfortunate because there's some guys I wanted to get rid of 3 stops ago, but I can't. So we make the best with what we can. We really hope in the future we're going to be able to break up our coaching staff, coaches, and get rid of some of these guys. But right now, I'm them and they're me.
What can we expect from the team heading into free agency?
Free agency. Well, we need to rebuild our front seven. It's depleted. We're losing Kyle Williams. We're not going to bring him back. He's probably going to retire. I hope he's smart. We're looking to move Jerry Hughes. He's getting up there. We don't have any linebackers. None. Shaq Lawson is still probably a year or 2 away from being the impact player he needs to be. Marcel Darius is a 300-pound blight on the integrity of this roster. And we need guards. Those things in free agency. Are we going to find anything? I'm not a big free agency guy. Haven't been in the past. We've got some money saved up, but as you know, EA and connected franchise mode squeezes the small market teams. So we're squirreling some of that away for the future. Hopes up that we're pretty active in free agency. Last question, guys.
Looking to trade up or down in the draft?
We're looking to move all over the board. I wouldn't mind picking up some picks. We've got 6 picks in the top 85. I'd like to flip those for a few down the road and a few more in the 3rd and 4th rounds of this year's draft. Move down a couple picks from 4, and then maybe move up a couple picks from 23, and then potentially back down a few more picks. It's going to give us a lot of flexibility this year and in the years to come. Unfortunately, about a third of the league is CPU managed teams, and we're not going to be allowed to trade with them. So our options are limited. Trade up or trade down, come through Buffalo. We're going to try and be a lot more engaged with the media here in season 2. Hopefully there won't be as many 59-0 blowouts, and we won't be ashamed to talk about what happened out on the field. We'll have a preseason press conference before we get started. But right now, we're just going to go into off-season mode and get this team heading in the right direction.